everyone. I'm Malika.
I'm Hannah, and welcome to Luminary UMOJA Celebration Series panel discussion.
For the past month, we have featured and spoken with 7 amazing artists as part of this series.
Luminary UMOJA Celebration is a month-long virtual event that features Black music professionals from various parts of the music industry. Our main goal is to create a safe and inclusive space for Black artists to share their talents, stories, and opinions.
As the month comes to an end, we wanted to bring all of the artists we featured together to speak about the importance of Black art in today's industry and society.
Before we start, make sure to check out all of our one-on-one interviews and performances, and don't forget to follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
This panel discussion will feature Desiree D, Marcus Aurelius, Tequila, Levi Alexander Love, Probably Raymond, Kezia Music, and will be moderated by Luminary team members Malika and Hannah. We'd like to give a big thank you to Rising Youth and Taking It Global for supporting this event.
I, as an artist, would like to see more, community, more unity. I find that that's lacking, and just amongst artists. Like I feel like a lot of us are just, so focused on ourselves that. And we're all trying to get to the same place in the industries. So I feel like there needs to be more of like a community. We tend as Black artists to not, come together. And I look at all the other, races out there who they come together. They're very unified in what they do. But I don't see that in the community, especially amongst artists as well too. So definitely something that I would like to see personally, so.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Desiree was saying, like for me personally, I think it's kind of super weird that like it's only like when you get to the States when you really start to get big. And it's kind of cool to see like Toronto kind of have that same vibe out here that like if you make it big out here, like you're noticed. It's more than just like Drake the Weeknd and Party Next Door sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many brilliant, super talented, sometimes even more talented artists than folks from the States that are here and just never get their shine. Like, for example, Havaya Mighty or like all these other people. Not to say Havaya doesn't get her shine, but I mean like, you know what I mean? Not as big, as not a household name, you know what I mean? And that's a problem. So I want to see more.
I think Levi brought up a good point about blowing up, and for us Black artists, and especially being in Canada, what it means for us to blow up usually means that we're co-signed by someone else from a different country and need to be brought from our country to another country, and one thing that I've always thought about was like, wow, how do we redefine what it means to blow up in Canada? I personally, I've always dreamt of kind of going to the States, but that's because from what I've seen, that's what needs to happen. But there's a part of me that's always like, man, why do I have to leave Scarborough? I would love to be able to enjoy a blossoming career in Toronto, in my home city, but also have that impact.
Just to add on what all of you guys said, I think the big thing is freedom, right? I think the thing that helps most is having the resources and kind of the freedom, right? You guys are correct. Like in the community, just kind of do your own thing without feeling like there will be a backlash or like you're doing one over on somebody. And that's the massive thing. I just think Canadian artists, especially Black artists, need like more freedom because it's really hard to get access to the resources that allow you to make a lot of the stuff too. So
I was having this conversation with one of my friends, and I know like a lot of artists, we tend to focus so much on numbers that we forget why we are doing what we're doing. And because we're so focused on the things that don't really matter, like numbers or, trying to blow up or trying to be the best. But I think for us, what we should be focusing on is the impact. Like, are you making an impact to people? Numbers are just numbers, right? They don't really mean anything. You could have hundreds of thousands of followers. You could have 1 million followers. You could have the whole of Canada following you. But if you're only impacting a small number of people, those numbers really don't mean anything. And I think for us, if we all have the same goal in mind to make a greater impact, even if we're just impacting a small group of people. I know Marcus mentioned something about like being noticed by artists in like other countries and stuff like that, and you know, not us trying to build our, like, I guess our brand here. Like, I know for myself, I've had multiple people come to me and say, oh, you know, you would blow up in the United States, or you would blow up in the UK. And I'm like, so why can't I blow up in Toronto? Right? Why can't I blow up in my own country? And I think the problem is that we're working towards trying to come out of our cities and not trying to better our city. We'd rather go take our talent to our neighbors in the South, or we'd rather go take our talent to the UK or to China or to Japan. And we don't want to build the industry here. And because, you know, we're seeing things that are in lack, like support. We have this crab in the bucket mentality. You know, we find that, you know, people don't care, or, you know, we're not seeing what we want to see. But I think if we all have the same mentality of, let's build Toronto, let's build the Toronto music scene, let's show other countries that, you know, we have something good going in Toronto, so that these up and coming artists don't follow the same negativity of, oh, there's nothing in Toronto, so I'm leaving. There's nothing in Canada for me, so I'm leaving. And that's the issue, is that because we're not trying to build. We're not trying to build the industry here. We see, and a lot of times people leave because of money.
Yeah.
Right. And again, this goes back to my point about making an impact, right? And really thinking about, why are you in the industry? Are you in it just for money? Are you in it just for fame? Or are you in it for a longer lasting impact? Because money can only last so long, because when you're done, you can't take that money with you. When you're done, you can't take popularity with you. However, you can leave a greater impact for the generations to come. So I believe that if all Black artists, yes, emphasis on Black, if we all have the same mindset of, let's build the city, let's not be in a hurry to leave because we're not seeing, how can we change the way that people support Black artists? We all have to have that mindset. So if we all have different mindsets of, oh, well, I want this and I want this and I want this, there has to be that unified mindset, right? At the end of the day, we all are trying to reach the same goal. We're all trying to be noticed. We're all trying to be seen. And even with opportunities, if you get an opportunity and it's not for you, pass it to somebody else who you think would benefit from that opportunity. I find that a lot of people who are given opportunities and they're not necessarily fit for that opportunity, they will just hold on to the connection and not pass that opportunity to somebody else who they know would do a better job with that opportunity. That's the other thing. We're very selfish. We just want to hold on to the connects. We don't want to share the connects with anybody. And you wonder why people want to leave. Because a lot of people, when they get connections, and you have to understand that every opportunity that you get is not necessarily for you, right? And you could be somebody else's blessing, right? You could be the key for somebody else getting an opportunity as well. But because of our selfish mentality and our, it's about me, it's about me, it's about me, it's about me, we will also lose our blessing as well too, because we were the key to help somebody else further themselves in the industry. And we could have also been blessed.
Right.
Because we were a blessing to somebody else. And that's the other thing, that's important as well too. If there's an opportunity that you're given or you're presented with and it's not for you, think of somebody. Oh, I know this person. I'm not cut out for this. However, I know somebody who might be able to help you. I'm going to let you know who they are. Because if we spread the opportunities to everybody, imagine how well everybody would be doing in the industry. You know, imagine how well other artists would be doing. Because everybody's sharing the wealth, we're sharing the connections, we're sharing the relationships, relationship building. A lot of artists in the city don't know how to build relationships. They tarnish relationships. they break relationships. A lot of people are famous off of broken relationships. A lot of people are famous off of stealing people's things. A lot of people are famous off of just popularity. A lot of people aren't famous of impact, of bringing community together, of spreading the opportunities for everybody, because they're in the mentality of, oh, well, I'm the only one that's going to eat today. Nobody else is going to eat. I'm going to eat. I'm going to be craving, and I'm going to let everybody else starve.
I can really resonate with this one because I do pop and alternative. Sometimes I want to get into a little rock, you know, I don't know, whatever. I've had a lot of people tell me, like, yo, like, you're Black, like, why aren't you doing R&B or like hip hop? And it's like, because I don't know, I don't want to. And it's kind of like putting this pressure on me to be someone I'm not, you know, like R&B is cool, but like I want to do a little rock and hip hop or pop and alternative, you know, like I want to do something different.
I definitely hear that. I know for me, growing up in the church, I guess the consensus was, you know, you should come up with some worship music, or you should do this and you should do this. And I made the decision when I first became an artist to go against the grain and to take the road less traveled. I always believe in taking the road less traveled. I'm not trying to do what everybody's doing. I'm not trying to, you know, be the next hip hop artist or the next R&B singer. There's plenty of singers out here. I mean, I get asked all the time if I sing, and I personally take it offensively because I just don't believe that females should be put in a box where they're only singers. They can't do anything else. That in itself is a stereotype. I know plenty of women who can sing, plenty of women who play instruments, plenty of women who rap, but we're always put in this box of, oh, well, we're only meant to be behind the mic and we don't know how to do anything else. I've experienced that a lot, especially in the church scene, where every church I go to is full of males. The band is male. And then when I go up to play, they're like, oh, really? Or I've gotten, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I've been doing this for years. You know, it's not like I woke up one day and said I was going to be an instrumental artist. Like, it took a lot of thought. I even was hesitant about actually entering the industry. I hid for a long time. I put myself in this box that I no longer wanted to be in. I wanted to see change. I wanted people to view women differently. Not just seeing them as one entity, but we are multi-talented. We're able to do all genres. So yeah, if you want to do rock, do your rock. If you want to do pop, do your pop. Like, nobody should stop you from doing that, because that's your way of breaking through the industry. Because you may not see a lot of Black people doing pop. Okay, I want to go that way because I want to increase the presence of pop or rock in the Black community, because we don't see that. It's always hip hop, it's always rap, it's always gospel. But I think it's great that we have, especially women, coming up and doing, you know, house, electronic, pop, rock. I think it's so important because these are the areas where we need to see those breakthroughs. We need to break through the norm. We need different. So I commend everybody on here who's trying to be different and try to bring something different to the industry, because we need that.
I don't even know how to sing R&B. I don't exactly know what I'm doing, to be frank. It's never been my genre. I've never been into it. Like, I have like a 1-2 track that I like, maybe 10 tracks that I like, but I don't normally listen to R&B like ever. I'm actually into, like, you know, indie. I don't know if you know what indie music is, but it's like just very like different and kind of like just, I don't know, just very different, but very like everything that like the singers sing about, it really like hits your soul, you know? You're like listening to that, you're like, oh crap, that's some deep stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's pretty depressive, to be honest, so you probably should take your time. But like, honestly, it's also like really nice, you know, to really like listen to. And that's the kind of stuff I play. I don't like, even in church, when I used to be in church too, I only listened to like Jesus Culture and like Bethel and like super like white rock Christian bands, because like I couldn't get behind it, man. It wasn't until I went to like this Black church once where I was like, oh, there's a whole nother genre of gospel. That's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? And I didn't even really know that. So I was raised like rather differently, you know what I'm saying, in terms of like music. So personally, sometimes I'm like, oh crap, like, am I like Black enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I hear playing songs, I'm like, do people even resonate with me? Because like, I'm just like that, you know what I'm saying? That one guy that comes with the acoustic guitar and is like, hey, just gonna sing a song and leave, you know? But everybody else is all in their electrics and they're all like, you know what I'm saying, like shirtless and like sweating and whatever and singing all their R&B music, and I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? It's nice, but it's just not my jam personally. I don't really care much for it. So yeah, it's kind of been the opposite, where I didn't really feel pressured to sing it. I just kind of felt like, oh my God, am I even like Black enough to be making, you know, music, if that sounds like, you know what I mean, weird, but yeah, that's kind of been my experience really.
Yeah, I can definitely like relate to that. I think it's even to the point where when I was growing up and the people that I surrounded myself with, I was like, I have no choice but to listen to this specific kind of music that everybody else around me was listening to. And I was forcing myself, I'm like, yeah, this is good. And then as soon as I kind of escaped that, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I don't even like this, you know? And I think I'm still now just like learning what I like and what I want to listen to, knowing that I don't have to please anybody else.
I wanted to actually add on to that. I feel like we had a similar conversation during our one-on-one, and as a Black artist who does make R&B, what we discussed last time was kind of like, just do it. Just do it anyways. Your music is for who it matters to, and whoever relates is going to relate, and whoever doesn't relate, they don't need to relate. I typically make R&B, but I've made Afro beats and people have hated it. And I've dabbled in rap and people have hated it, but some people really like it. And for those people who like it, it's for them. For those people who still listen to it and relate to it, it's for them. You might not like this song, but you might like the next one. You might not even like the next one either, but it's okay, because I don't really create. I create because I want people to relate and identify with what I'm saying. I want people to know, if you feel that, I felt it too, so you're not alone. I relate, child. I've been there too. That's what I want people to feel. But if they don't, it's completely fine. Because at the end of the day, I can't relate to all the billion people out there. But the people I can relate to, and the people who can listen to my music and appreciate it, whether it's R&B, rap, Afro beats, Afro fusion, dancehall, reggae, whatever, regardless of what it is, whoever can relate, it's for them. It's for you. And whoever can't, it's completely fine. That's why there's so many different artists and so many people doing their own thing.
Yeah, I could definitely relate. Like personally, I'm actually classically trained. So I started off music with like folk music and opera. And that's how I kind of got into the industry for music. And it's not that necessarily I felt pressured, but I felt like every time I would go into a room where I would be doing a vocal exam, or I'd be competing with like all these like skinny white girls who have been doing opera since they were like 2. Like they would look at me and they'd be like, "Oh, are you gonna do like a Negro folk, or are you gonna do like a spiritual for us?" And I'm like, "No, girl, I'm singing in Italian. Like, I'm doing the exact same thing as y'all. It's fine." But I feel like a lot of the time, like, not even necessarily that it was kind of gatekeeping, it would be fetishized, where I, as now a Black opera singer, I am a Black opera singer, period. And it's like, I'm an opera singer. No, it's fine. Yes, I am Black, but that shouldn't be the reason that you're listening to me or supporting me. I'm an opera singer coming into this industry as an opera singer and as a classical singer. And I felt like, because there's this stigmatism, I wasn't going to be able to go into that as a profession, because I would constantly have this sort of just look where it's like, oh, she's an opera singer, but she's a Black opera singer. Like, there's so little of them, where it's like, no, there's a lot of us. There's quite a few of us in this industry. It's just, we aren't necessarily out on the forefront, because the people who listen to opera aren't necessarily looking for that. A lot of the times, Black opera singers will have to be like the top of the top. Their voice has to be crazy insane. It has to be like something that almost doesn't feel real. And if they're not that, then they won't be seen anywhere. So I definitely understand the pressure, and it makes it hard for Black opera singers, classical singers, anybody who wants to get into that sort of genre, for us to come in and be told, oh, you're going to sing us a spiritual or a little jazz piece. No, girl. I'm saying the exact same thing as you. So I definitely understand that.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maggie from Luminary. I hope you're enjoying this panel discussion so far. Just a reminder that if you haven't already, please check out our one-on-one interviews and performance videos on our Instagram and YouTube channel. We hope you enjoy the rest. Bye, everybody.
Well, if anything, in spite of the hard times, COVID-19's actually taught me a lot. And even as an artist, it has taught me to slow the hell down. Because we tend as artists to focus so much on just getting the product and working so hard to get the best music out there for, the people who support us. And we fail to take care of ourselves. And COVID-19 has really taught me that I need to take a whole sit down for a hot minute and take care of myself. Health is so important, especially during this time where, people are losing their lives every day. And people are going out in the trenches working in a pandemic. And if you have an opportunity to rest, take it, rest, because it can affect your creative process. I remember pre-COVID, I was going hard. Anybody who knows me know I'm a grindaholic. I grind every single day to I love it. But I love it to the point where it's a detriment to myself. So COVID-19 taught me to slow down, to prioritize, to think about what's really important. Even with what I post, I've had to cut back on content, still releasing content, but I've had to cut back on it and really just focus on what's really, what people are gravitating to the most. Because I can put out a lot of stuff, but if it's not reaching people, then maybe I need to change my game plan. Maybe I need to cut back on what I'm doing. So I've had to cut back a lot on what I post. I've just focused on what is really gravitating and what's really inspiring people. In terms of creating music, I didn't release as much music as I wanted to last year, just because of, getting used to staying in my house for an entire year. It was difficult because I need to get out. I need space. I need to, roam. I need to see my friends. Couldn't see my friends. It was hard. But even my creative process changed when I realized I needed to slow down. I wrote some of my best stuff last year. I put out a goal to myself that I wanted to write 100 songs before the end of the year. I missed it by about 9, but in that in itself was an accomplishment for me because I didn't think I could do it. And it's just taught me to, take it easy, because I'll have those moments where I have writer's block or creative block because I went too hard. And then getting close to the end of the year, bam, I couldn't write music. I couldn't do anything. I was running out of energy because I put it all into just working. So I'll encourage everybody on here, rest. Take time for yourself. Don't do the most, especially during this time where COVID is just running rampage. And now we have this new variant out. Protect yourself, take rest. Even if that means you don't write music for a month, do it. Trust me, it helps. Don't be so focused on, just working to the point where you don't take care of yourself.
When you spoke about staying at home, that was definitely something that kind of altered my creative process as well. Same as you, I feel like I'm always moving, I'm always doing something, I'm always going somewhere. If it's not music, it's school. If it's not school, it's work. So I feel like I was just always doing something, and being forced to stay at home was like a huge adjustment because I had a bunch of time to think about things that maybe I didn't want to think about. And out of that came content that, like, I guess I never really saw myself creating. I feel like literally being alone with your thoughts and having nowhere to go helped me create some really honest and vulnerable content that I love and I can't wait to share. And I don't know if I would have created it if I was still moving as fast as I was before COVID. So that was definitely something I wanted to add on to, because being forced to stay in one place and really think about everything and really reflect without having to go anywhere or rush to do the next thing, it makes you view things completely differently, which of course changes your creative process. So yeah, I wanted to add to that.
For sure.
And I feel like on top of the pandemic, first as artists, no gigs, like studio time cut down in half, things are crazy. And then on top of that, I think as just Black people, we suffered a lot of trauma this past year, all around the world. It was in the United States, it was in Nigeria, it was in Uganda, it was even in Canada. So many aspects like of our lives were just like, what is going on right now? And so for me, honestly, it was kind of hard. And I was like, how do I even create when my people are dying everywhere and quick? And I'm being fed Black death from every single platform everywhere. They were showing this on the news, on Twitter, on Instagram. And it's like, how am I supposed to feel? You know what I mean? Because like one layer, I'm an artist, things, I'm down bad. And now it's like another layer of this. And personally, it was like hard for me. I somewhat felt guilty, you know? I'm like, how am I to create when there's people like suffering? First from this virus, second from being Black wherever you are in the world.
If I could hop in, because I'm generally a pretty anxious person, I'd have to agree. I think the big thing about exactly what you're saying is the survivor's guilt, right? And a lot of people don't really talk about their mental health enough as it is. So once we're kind of trapped all in our own rooms, kind of stuck in our own heads, and then, like you said, have a constant stream of literally only the death of Black people on CNN for 3 weeks at a time, it's stressful and it gets to you. And it's the same thing as brainwashing anybody look at the same thing every day. It eventually will put you in a bad place and make it very hard to center yourself and, you know, get to those things that help you escape, because at the same time it's affecting everybody at every level, right? It's not just George Floyd, it's someone as famous as Darius Rucker or whatever getting pulled over still in their car and them being like, oh well, this is still terrifying for me regardless. And now that has to be on the news too to prove a point, but at the same time you want to ask like what's okay, like what's fine, which is always a hard thing, especially as a survivor. You don't want to ask if there are things you're allowed to do to be okay, because a survivor surviving is enough. And I think that's the important thing to remember as Black artists, that, you know, surviving is okay, but you're allowed to want more for yourself, and you're allowed to have those escapes, because regardless of things being difficult or the fact that things have always been kind of difficult, there is positives, there is always like a light and something to work forward to. And I think really being in this situation generally in the pandemic really gave me perspective on all of that kind of stuff.
Yes, you know, it's our hard time, but we want to manifest positivity. Like we want to put positive into the world, because words are powerful. And I tell people all the time, like, you want to speak positively, like things are going to get better. They're going to get better. They will. They have to. Right. And I think that for us as a whole, we just have to go with that things are going to get better. We just have to exude positivity. We just have to keep speaking that in the atmosphere.
So for me, this is more of a hard subject for me, because I was one of those people who, like Levi said, like I was like, man, you know, the way things have been going, like when 2020 hit, I'm like, wow, there's actually like, for once it felt like the cards were being dealt in my favor. You know what I'm saying? So I was actually finding it kind of felt like when you climb up a slide, and you're like, oh wow, I found a technique that's actually letting me climb up the slide. Like I'm gonna get to that top. And COVID hit me when I felt like I was just getting used to. I was getting to that point where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get used to this. And you know, I'd released my single. I had, you know, been gigging with Quincy frequently, getting more gigs for myself, in the upcoming months, in April and in June, I was supposed to, be a part of festivals like that I've never been a part of, and not behind Quincy, but for myself, and I felt like, wow, my gosh, like I'm finally getting somewhere. I'm finally starting to get something. COVID came and my momentum was halted. Like I was devastated. I was one of those people who I was going to give up music. I was going to give up my dream straight up. I was like, okay, I'm going to be turning 30. Maybe this is just a way of saying like, hey, it's not in it for you. It's not, the universe isn't seeing it for you, and it broke my heart because music is everything. Performing is everything for me. I'm one of those people where I haven't been successful in a lot of things in my life, but the one thing that I find joy in and that kept me going and moved me to inspired me was music, was performing, was writing. So it felt like to have that outlet kind of removed, or that ability in the way that we had it, to be removed, like it hurt my heart, and I felt like I did something and like I failed it, so for me it was very personal. At some point I came to the point where like, yeah, I'm giving up, and then I'm still singing, and really that's what it was. I'm still singing. I'm still sending up messages about my single, and it's like, okay, did I give up, or did I really give up? And I had to sit there, and for a couple of weeks I just sat there and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna give up. I don't know if I'll ever be something amazing, or if I'll ever be something that will catch on or whatever, but that's not why I'm doing it in the first place. I'm doing it because not only is this something I love, but I believe that there's a place for me here.
Through this time with the pandemic and with all the Black death that we're seeing, for me, I was kind of like provided with some awkward opportunities where I felt as though you're only reaching out to me because of Black people dying, and it was like a moral thing where I was like, do I accept this and get the bag, or do I say no because I don't want to profit off of somebody who could be my uncle, sister, cousin, brother, mother dying, and so I did have to say no to some things and yes to others, just because, like I said, I was down bad. I needed something. I needed to keep going. But I wanted to ask if you guys had any similar experiences and how, like, morally you combated with that.
I sang at some of the protests, and originally when I was asked, I had that thought before saying yes. I'd be like, of course I wanna protest, because some of these causes are very important. For Regis, for even I have a family member who was killed by police. Just things like this are important. To speak about accountability amongst the police, important. So but at the same time I understood, because they were I didn't realize at first that they were going to pay me to do it. So then when it came to, and they're like, oh, give me your information, whatever, I was like, oh my gosh, what, can I accept this? And I know there's a part of me, I know the first one I did, I spoke to the person who got me to do it, and I was like, I don't really feel comfortable taking the money. And they were like, it's yours. It's everyone has a part to play, and you did your part, and let us do ours. And I was like, oh, okay. Of course, yeah, during the time, like, it's like, oh, I need it because we need to live. But at the same time, like, I always had to check myself, like, am I here to really, to really protest? Would I be here without the money? Would I, what I'm saying? Like, it's all of those things, like, really to put yourself in check, to make sure that A, that you're doing this for the right reason, and B, holding yourself accountable.
Just like what you were saying, like, is it acceptable? And I think it's because we saw so many non-Black people profiting off of Black death. And when I say that, I mean Breonna Taylor merch.
Yes.
I was like livid. And so then when these opportunities came up, I'm like, am I doing the same thing? You know what I mean? Am I profiting off of Black death?
I feel like it's kind of unfair for us to have to choose to take the moral high ground or not. I just opportunity shouldn't be presented at all. I think that it just, I don't know, but I'm also kind of from the school of thought that like, look, to be frank, people have been profiting off of Black death in various ways for centuries. So to be frank, if anybody should be profiting off of our death, it should be us. The money should come back to us in the form of like reparations and so on and so forth. We all know if we cut the BS, you know, we all know that people are killing us because they don't like us, you know, because we're Black, right? Like we all know the law in and of itself, capitalism, the system of how money is handled today, the system in which justice is handled today is a detriment of the Black community. We all know that. That's not even like up for debate. Like there's no, you know, you don't need a degree, right? To even, not even a high school diploma to see that, right? You know what I'm saying? But so what I will say is, yes, I do think we should probably be profiting off of Black death because we're not the ones that are causing it. You know what I'm saying? We're the communities that are losing people. And on top of losing people, we're losing our minds, we're losing our souls, we're losing our nature, we're losing ourselves. Like we're losing so much. And every time somebody dies, it's like a piece of us dies. And like that constant, it's weird. It's almost like everything seemed so like strategically placed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it was just like, oh, George Floyd was killed on camera. We all saw that. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like Breonna was killed in her sleep. Like, Regis, we don't even know what actually happened in that building that day and how she died. Like, we don't know what exactly is going on. And it's very like strangely like you're supposed to be at home. And then while you're at home, you turn on the TV because there's nothing else to do. And then all this is all there all the time. And then it's kind of like, it kind of feels like everything's like strategically placed to continue to kill us anyways. So it's just like weird. So if anything, yes, I do think that every time CNN shows a Black body on the ground, a Black person should be getting a paycheck. That's what I think. If you're going to sit there and boldly, disrespect our life and our death, like you're going to disrespect us like all around, like, nah, I'm getting paid for that. Cause like, that's crazy. Like, and it's just weird. It's weird. And I personally think this whole weird notion of Black people always being the ones who have to clean up and always the ones who have to make sure everything is like, you know what I mean, everything is proper and everything is whatever. Like, I hate that. Screw that. Okay, screw that. Like, screw morals. Okay, like I'm broke. Yes, I'm taking that performance. Yes, I'm doing this. Yes, I'm doing that. Because at the end of the day, like this is where the money is right now.
Consistency is the key. Okay, that's what I'm telling everybody coming into this. I believe in consistency. Whatever you have to share with the masses, do it. Just keep doing it. Post it every single week if you have to, even if it gets one like, if it gets one comment, post it every week.
My biggest goal would be to surround yourself around people who are for you. Like, for example, right now I'm in a space with people who I know like have good intentions, and I know who are good people, and who I know will support me in any way that they can, whether it's a repost, whether they like my Instagram post, whether it's a comment, so surround yourself around good people, because it is so very easy to be taken advantage of and to be manipulated by people who might present themselves as good people and who are for you.
I would say very quickly, not everyone's going to get your vision, and that's okay. If you see yourself as something, and that's who you want to be, and that's the journey that you want to go on, do it. Just do it with your heart. Know that it won't always go your way, and some people might hate. Some of it might be constructive criticism, so you can't negate every voice that says no, but learn to discern this difference between someone who is telling you something that you don't want to hear because they see it for you, versus someone who's telling you something you don't want to hear because they just don't care for you.
What I wanted to say was trust your process, your specific process. Trust your process. Don't do too much people watching. Just trust your process and be honest and be real with yourself. As long as you are creating content that makes you happy, then you're doing the right thing. It doesn't matter what everyone else is doing and what everyone else is creating. You create what you want to create, and you're going to get exactly where you need to be when you need to be there. So, yeah.
What I would say is have fun. If you're if you're doing music to, you know, like, okay, do music because you want to, DJ because you want to, dance because you want to, you know, do visual arts because you want to, like, whatever your art medium is, like, do it because you actually want to do it.
That's really dope. I think my advice would be to anybody would be music is everything, but it's not everything. I think it's really important to remember that you can separate yourself from it, and this can really quickly turn into just as unhealthy as a habit as any other. As much as it is a pain relief for us, and it is a stress reliever, and it is mental health medicine, sometimes you can take too much medicine and really lose track of things. And remembering to send to yourself and being, you know, the person you need to be for yourself before you're, you know, telling your story is also important too. And that's probably the biggest thing.